In this presentation, you will learn about culture history. Understanding culture. The history of a culture reconstructed through comparison with closely related cultures. The idea was prominent among diffusionists and students of Franz Boas. Jacob Burckhardt and John Huizinga, two founding figures, are the two people associated with the founding of the concept of culture history. Although studies on culture and history have been existing since long, merging these two individual disciplines has brought new ideas in the field of study. Let us look into both of them individually first. Culture in layperson terms can be associated with two simple categories. Firstly, agriculture, in a way meaning growth, fertility. The second is culturing in the lab, again signifying growth. So in other words, some of the characteristics of culture have been culture is cumulative, culture is learned, culture is shared, etc. Taylor said that culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, law, morals, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Understanding history. Some important questions can be raised like whose history? History from below or from top? History can be seen from two areas, one recorded in terms of written and another which exists in the form of oral history. Even today, due to multiple reasons, written tradition is seen as more reliable than oral tradition. There are several issues with history too, like the powerful generally constructed and sponsored the writing of history. So the authenticity of the historical information about a given population is too biased in several cases. In the visual, you see a crown made out of clay. The image has been captured from Indonesia, Bali. There are hands at the top of the crown which can be seen as symbols of people's approval towards the king. This also shows that before the advent of minerals like gold, diamond, mud was being used. In this image, you will see the double-decker route bridge in Meghalaya. It's an example of culture history. The bridge is more than 300 years old. The villagers gave the rubber tree direction and thereafter the trees grew on its own. These bridges were then used by locals to go from one village to another. It stands as a symbol of nature, culture, and history passed on generation after another. The best part is it is indigenous and nature friendly. Earlier, the bridge was only one level before a flood came into the village. The record of history and the existence of culture goes hand in hand. For example, the symbols, artifacts, languages gives us a picture of cultural history of a given time period. It helps us to draw a picture of society. However, in this too, for several generations, there is the other factor which is involved, which is the colonizer or the first world countries that have been studying the other, which is the third world countries like India, Africa, etc. to a large extent. This pattern is even today continued, although the third world country researchers have also been writing about their own land. The contribution of the European and Western scholars, however, cannot be denied in documenting several important customs traditions, like some important contributions by Saint-Omer, folk culture, folk religion, and oral traditions as a component in Maharashtrian culture. Material and non-material culture and history. Culture can be studied from both material and non-material objects. For example, oral histories, proverbs act as important rich heritage which talks about multiple things like flora, fauna of a given time, symbols of a given time. Example of material culture are pots, records inscribed in stones, temples, etc. If you visit Leh Ladakh, there exists a museum where there is a 19th century momo steaming utensil. This utensil helps us understand that momos have been existing since long. There are also photographs of different nomads, traders who have been walking the Silk Route. The leather bag images which they used for carrying water, the purse made on animal leather, etc. All these traditions have vanished today. However, it explains the beauty of evolution of culture. Documenting cultural history becomes very essential as it gives a sense of identity, togetherness, affiliation, heritage to our roots. In the changing globalization, this becomes even more important. Thank you for watching the presentation. Do like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments about this presentation or any other topics you would like to learn more about.